had you. They had someone who would have stood through fire for them, someone who would have bled without hesitation, someone who saw their flaws and still chose to stay. But that was not enough for them. No, no, no. You see, loyalty is a rare currency, but those who have never struggled to earn it will always spend it recklessly. They treated your devotion like an endless reservoir, a bottomless well they could draw from without ever worrying about the day it might run dry. They assumed you would always be there, always forgive, always return. And so, they gambled with something priceless. And now they've lost everything. People love to test limits. They like to see how far they can push before you break, how much they can take before you snap. Modern society thrives on this principle, pushing people beyond their boundaries, conditioning them to tolerate mistreatment under the guise of patience, virtue, and love. They tell you to be the bigger person, to endure, to understand. But what they really mean is stay controllable. Let them take without consequence. Let them wound without repercussion. And as long as you comply, they will keep playing their game, raising the stakes, seeing how much more they can get away with. Until one day, the game stops. Not because they choose to end it, but because you do. There is something profoundly unsettling to people when the loyal one walks away. They never saw it coming, because in their mind, you were permanent, a fixture, a given. They assumed your silence was acceptance, your patience was weakness, your forgiveness was a guarantee. But what they never understood is that loyalty is not slavery. It is a choice. And once that choice is revoked, there is no going back. They can beg, they can bargain, they can scream that they didn't mean it, that they will change, that it was all a mistake. But a shattered foundation cannot be rebuilt with apologies. Psychologically, this is what happens when someone loses what they took for granted. They do not grieve you. They grieve the control they lost, the stability you once provided, the certainty that someone was in their corner, no matter how poorly they treated them. And now, standing in the ruins of what they destroyed, they are faced with something they cannot manipulate, cannot charm, cannot fix: your absence. And that absence is louder than any words you could ever say, because silence is final. Silence is a verdict. Silence is freedom. Society conditions people to believe that those who care the most will always be there, that they can be stretched, neglected, disrespected, and they will endure. But that belief is based on a misunderstanding of strength. They think strength is endless tolerance, that the ability to take damage without reacting is some form of noble endurance. But true strength? True strength is knowing when to walk away, knowing when to say, enough, knowing that your value does not diminish just because someone else failed to see it. Watch them now. Watch how the same people who laughed at your pain, who dismissed your loyalty, who gambled with your presence, now scramble to undo what has been done. The regret in their eyes is not pure. It is not the sorrow of someone who truly values what they lost. It is the panic of someone who realizes they have no way of getting it back. They look at you and see the life raft that has drifted too far to reach. The bridge they set on fire now reduced to ash. And they will try, they will try to rebuild it. But some things cannot be undone. There is a psychological principle called the sunk cost fallacy. The idea that people continue to invest in things long after They have lost their value, simply because they have already invested so much. They will do this with you. They will remind you of history, of memories, of the time you spent together, hoping that your past loyalty will override your present clarity. But that is another mistake, because the past is not a contract. The past does not entitle them to your future. And the only people who will try to use nostalgia as a leash are the ones who never deserved you in the first place. Modern society functions the same way. It demands loyalty while offering nothing in return. It convinces people to stay in toxic workplaces, in manipulative relationships, in broken systems, all under the illusion of commitment. It praises sacrifice while rewarding selfishness. It expects unwavering devotion, but does not reciprocate. And those who wake up to this deception, they are branded as selfish, cold, ungrateful. But let them call you what they want. Because the moment you stop playing their game, the moment you choose yourself over the illusion of obligation, you win. They thought they were in control. They thought they could raise the stakes forever, that you would always stay at the table, always keep playing, no matter how unfair the odds. But the strongest move in any game is the one they never expect. The moment you fold, not because you lost, but because you refused to play. And now, they must sit in their losses, must live with the consequences of their arrogance, must watch as you walk away with something they can never reclaim: your self-respect. Toxic people are the poison of society, not just individuals, not just relationships, but the very fabric of human existence. They infect environments like a slow, creeping disease, turning ambition into exhaustion, trust into paranoia, progress into stagnation. They do not build, they corrode. They do not create, they contaminate. And yet society makes excuses for them. It enables them, protects them, even rewards them. The world has mistaken tolerance for virtue, allowing the most corrosive among us to spread their decay unchecked. They smile as they cut. They charm as they manipulate. They masquerade as harmless while orchestrating destruction. And by the time you realize what they are, it is already too late. They do not kill with weapons. They kill with whispers, with doubts, with subtle degradations that erode your confidence, piece by piece, until you are no longer sure where you end and their influence begins. They are the masters of illusion, turning their sins into your burdens, their failures into your responsibilities. They will make you question your instincts, make you justify their betrayals, make you beg for the very scraps of respect that should have been given freely. And this is not accidental. It is by design. Toxic people do not thrive through strength. They thrive by making you weak, by convincing you that their chaos is normal, that their cruelty is just how the world works, that suffering is simply the price of love, of loyalty, of success. They drain the lifeblood of progress, of ambition, of sanity. And society in its cowardice feeds them. It tells you to be patient, to be understanding, to give second chances endlessly, as if toxicity is something that can be reasoned with, as if parasites will ever stop feeding out of respect for their host. It tells you that cutting people off is cruel, that standing up for yourself is selfish, that refusing to entertain their madness makes you the problem. It demands that you adjust to dysfunction rather than purge it, because purging it would mean holding people accountable. In modern society, it does not hold the weak accountable. It bends to them. Look around. Who is praised? The victim or the victor? The one who rises from the ashes, or the one who stays in them and demands sympathy? Society rewards weakness. It elevates those who cry loudest, who twist their failures into weapons, who manipulate the kindness of others to avoid responsibility. The strong are expected to endure it, to carry the burden, to sacrifice their sanity in the name of civility. But civility is not a virtue when it demands that you tolerate poison. Mercy is not noble when it requires that you let your soul rot to keep the peace. Toxic people know this. They count on this. They rely on the fact that you were taught to endure, to forgive, to see the best in people, no matter how much damage they do. They exploit your goodness, twist it, turn it into a leash that keeps you bound to them, long after they have proven they deserve nothing from you. And the more you give, the more they take. There is no bottom to their hunger, no limit to their entitlement. They will drink you dry, leave you hollow, and then they will move on to the next host. And if you break in the process, if you collapse under the weight of their destruction, they will not mourn you. They will replace you. The weak are disposable to the toxic. The strong are threats. They do not want equals. They do not want people with boundaries, with self-respect, with the ability to walk away. They want captives, puppets, people too afraid to fight back, too wrapped up in guilt to break free. And the world, with its misguided compassion, teaches you to comply. It tells you that cutting out toxic people is wrong, that you should try to understand them, that they are victims of their own pain, and therefore you should carry them rather than hold them responsible. But pain does not excuse malice, and broken people are not entitled to break others. There's only one cure for poison: removal, not negotiation, not patience, not compassion. Those things only work on people capable of change, people who want to change. But toxic people, they have no interest in growth. They do not reflect. They deflect. They do not apologize. They justify. They do not evolve. They infect. They are not misguided souls waiting for a savior. They are the wrecking ball disguised as the victim, the hand that strikes while pretending to heal, the rot beneath the surface that only reveals itself when it is far too late.